Hey Wealth Builders, my name is Mishak.
And I'm Akiva.
And welcome back to another episode of the Bemused, where we talk about all things personal finance for young adults just like you and us.
So if you're into that kind of thing, come on and join the Wealth Builders squad by hitting that big red subscribe button. And while you're at it, click that notification bell so that you never miss when we post new, valuable videos just like this one. In this December-January season, we're going to be talking a lot about getting our money together for the new year. We're going to be checking up on our numbers, talking about goal setting, and also sharing some voices on the show that aren't ours. That's right, we've invited some other great personal finance YouTubers in the space to share their money wisdom with you all. We're kicking the season off with one of those guest interviews with the lovely Shay Budgets. Take a listen.
All right, welcome Shay. This will be super fun. We're so excited to have you on.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So I usually like to ask everyone how you got started talking about money on the internet, right? We all have our different journeys that bring us into this wonderful YouTube space of just yapping about money. So I'd love to know, because I know you don't do finance professionally. I believe you're a social worker, right? So how did you start talking about money on the internet, and just tell us the story?
Okay. Well, I got started back in 2017. I will be honest in saying that I didn't know that people even used YouTube for any other reason other than trying to showcase their voices and their dance moves so that they could get discovered. I literally had no idea that I would learn to do my makeup in 2017 from YouTube, that I would learn about different money principles and techniques and ways to manage your money also in 2017. And I certainly didn't know that there was money to be made and that it could be a full-time job for some, or, bring in a full-time income for some. So that was all kind of new to me in 2017. Soon after, like early 2017, after my husband and I had gotten married in November of 2016, it was time for us to embark on our journey of financial independence, which is what we referred to it as. And a lot of people took an interest in that, which was interesting. Maybe because money is a little taboo for some people, although I'm here every day to kind of debunk all of that. But a lot of people were kind of interested in how we were paying off debt or how we were doing this or that. And I tried for the life of me to upload a video to Facebook. And I was just going to share that with friends and family members, or whoever wanted to see it, I would just share that with them. But it didn't work. So I took to YouTube. And that wasn't too foreign because I had already learned a little bit. I mean, there may have been there were few money influencers on YouTube at the time, I personally feel like. So it wasn't like it was going to be super weird because there were already people who were doing it. So I went ahead and I did that. And then a lot of people started watching my first video, which is interesting because it looks subpar compared to the content that I put out now. And then I soon learned via my husband, because he knew a little bit more about, he just always has known a little bit more about electronics and those types of things than me, like programs and how that stuff works. And so he told me that I could be monetized and I was eligible. So he applied for me the month after. So our first video went up I say August, but it was July 31st, but August 2017. And I was monetized in the next month in September. And at that point, really because there was a need and people were really interested in it, that is that's why I continue to share. I didn't have any real, need or wanting or longing to share any information or to be on YouTube, period, at that time. But that's kind of how I got thrust into it. And I've just been riding the wave and enjoying riding the wave ever since. So that's how I got started.
Awesome. So you mentioned your husband a minute ago. So I want to talk about managing finances as a couple. I know we're a couple, you talk about your husband often on your channel. So what has that process been like, in the first, I guess now it's been a few years of marriage and managing money together? How's that process gone for you all? And maybe some tips that you have for other people who may be combining finances or something like that.
Yes. So I took on the role as the chief finance officer 5 years ago when we got married. And the only real reason for that was because I really was in a place where I really needed to improve my relationship with money. It's kind of like you ever want to do something, or you have a goal, or you have a thought, even if it's a stretch goal or a pipe dream. And you have these goals and dreams and aspirations, but your actions and behaviors aren't really aligned with that goal. That was where I was, because I always longed to retire early or for work to become optional as quickly as possible. or to reach financial independence as quickly as possible. But my actions were not set up to allow that type of goal. So I kind of was like fed up with myself, but also I knew that because of my husband's relationship with money, which was much better than mine and always has been, that I literally would be setting myself up for failure if I continued to do what I was doing, which was not manage my money to the best ability, but also to be in a marriage with someone who was doing the complete opposite. So that is kind of like what all took place and how I really became the chief finance officer. And so I started like really learning about money and investing and saving and things that I'd never been taught or ever probably would have been taught had I not went on that journey for myself. And so it's been a breeze. I will say that it's just one of the roles that I actually play in our marriage. There are a number of roles that I play. I am the chief finance officer. I do primarily all of the cleaning, and I do a lot of the planning and the organizing of like appointments and schedules. Everything else my husband actually does, like much of the cooking and all of the outside work. And, there's a bunch of roles that he plays, but the ones that I play, and one of them being the chief finance officer. So we only talk about money really whenever we need to discuss a goal. Well, we kind of like always talk about money, but we really only talk about it in the sense of goal setting rather than we only have $50 or or when you getting paid, like we got all that. Like we know when our paydays are, we talk about that. We talk about how we're going to spend our money for the month. So we really just kind of talk about it in a sense of how we can make sure that we're staying on track and seeing how close we are to meeting our goal or how far we've come, not really having any kind of like arguments or whatever about money. And we haven't had any since we got married, actually. So that's kind of like how that works. I just consider it to be, just one of the things that I do well. Like I manage and I organize and I plan for things well. So naturally I would keep up with the bills. So naturally I would, kind of do some of these other things that I do as it relates to money. And I like, if he ever was like, I want to be chief finance officer because I now have my life organized, then I would certainly allow him to do that. But it's just one of the roles that I naturally play. Again, our bills are all on auto pay, and we talk before our monthly budget, but we also do an annual budget, so we really don't have to talk so frequently about money. But it's really kind of like, are you planning to buy anything? Do you have any gifts that you need to give, any events, any vacations coming up? Kind of checking in, because we already set the annual budget and we already know each year when we're going into the year, we need to live off of this much if we want to save this much and if we want to be able to reach our goal by this time frame.
Yeah, that's interesting, because that's a common question we get is like, how do I get my partner on the same page with me when it comes to money and, arguing about money? And that's something that, I guess similar to us, we're just like, unfortunately, or fortunately, I guess for us, we can't necessarily relate to that because we've pretty much always been on a similar page when it came to money, and we haven't really had major money arguments or things like that. So it sounds like it's kind of the same with you and your husband.
Yes.
So yeah,
the one piece of advice that I always try to give, because I always try to think about what if I was in that situation. The advice that I can give is, I feel like a lot of times one person will be like fed up with their financial situation and they're like, I want to change this. And they may embark on a journey of learning different ways to manage their money or make more money and all this other kind of stuff. And of course, obviously, naturally it makes sense to kind of share that with the partner or the person who is not really where they are. And so the one thing that the only real advice that I can give is to extend some grace, because I feel like, if you guys both went into a marriage and you had poor money management habits and you had poor relationships with money, but then one day one person wakes up and they're like, I'm sick of this, I'm fed up with this, you're going to have to extend some grace to this other person to get them to where they are and give them some time and space to be able to move them from where they are, from A to where you are, Z, C, wherever, because that's only I feel like that's only fair.
Great. Thanks for sharing, by the way.
No problem.
Another question that I wanted to ask is, so we know that you recently started working with financial advisors. We wanted to know, how is that going?
Honestly, it's going well. I don't really talk to him at all. I will say that in my reaching out, what I wanted to do is learn about, the consultation is free. So I wanted to learn and our financial advisor gave us a whole, 20-year trajectory of what life would be like and how we could retire in 20 years. And he kind of like mapped all that out. And I was thinking about if it were time to release him, it's only been obviously like 10 months. No, 11. Next month will be a whole year, I guess. Or I don't know, we started in January, so maybe not quite a year. But anyway, I was thinking about if it were time to release him from his duties. But I really feel like I really still want to learn more and more and more and more before I take on that. That's a huge endeavor when you go from just kind of living life to like, oh, we've paid off this debt or we've done this and this. Now let's embark on this journey to early retirement. That I feel like is a huge endeavor, and I'm not quite sure that I'm ready or my husband is ready to take on managing our finances, investing as much as he is investing for us in that way. So yeah, I mean, I'd say it's going well. I just kind of let him do his thing. I manage all of the accounts, so I see all the action that takes place at the beginning of the month. I see what that looks like. I see the percentage that is taken to go to the financial advisor, which is nothing in comparison to what we are actually investing. So I'm just kind of comfortable at this point with continuing to learn more about that before I start investing all this money myself. So I'm just kind of letting him handle it while everything is going smoothly. But yeah, we really only check in if there's a major life change, which there typically is not. But yeah, it's going pretty well. I thoroughly enjoy it.
So I guess we all know the importance of transparency when talking about money, especially I would say in the Black community. So why do you share your numbers publicly?
Yeah, you do like your budgets and the behind the scenes of your business income and all of that great stuff, which we like to be as transparent as possible here too, showing our personal numbers. So whenever we see other YouTubers doing the same, we love to find out about that and what made you, because some people are more comfortable than others, of course, sharing their numbers. So your thoughts on that and the importance of that.
I guess I didn't know that it was a weird thing until people started bringing it up as a weird thing. Because for me, if I'm going to be on YouTube and sharing my successes, my journeys, my wins, my losses, anything about finances, first of all, just making up numbers and using mock numbers is weird. Like, that's not going to be a thing for me. I can't even, it doesn't sit right with me. But I feel like if I'm going to share anything, then I need to share the real, whatever that is in life in general, not just when it comes to money. But I can't tell you how I'm paying off $2,000 per month in debt or saving $2,000 or how I'm going to retire early if I don't actually share with you how that is possible for us based on our income, our spending habits, our savings rate, and so on and so forth. So I guess I would say I've always been open and honest when it comes to pretty much anything. So I didn't know that it was kind of weird until I got on YouTube and I learned, like people would make comments over the years or whatever, or people even ask me like, how did you get comfortable with it? And I'm like, I actually have never been uncomfortable with, I never needed to get comfortable with it because it was always a comfort thing for me. And I guess what it comes down to is I'm not ashamed. Like, I could make $1,000 per month or $10,000 per month. It's just what it is. Like, it's just a fact. It's not like anything that I'm going to go run and crawl under a rock because of. I don't have any real attachment. And I guess that's what it comes down to. I don't have any real feelings when it comes to money. It's just something that I make to survive, to pay my bills. And if I have more left over, then I get to do some extraordinary things.
Awesome. So you had talked about the FIRE movement a little bit before reaching financial independence at an early age. I guess if you could dig a little bit deeper into why that was such an important goal for you. I know it's becoming more and more popular as time goes on, but it's still something that's a little bit up and coming or a little bit off the beaten path and a little uncommon. So what made you want to pursue FIRE?
Aside from the fact that I go against the grain when it comes to everything in life, I believe that it's a concept or a construct that has been put out into the atmosphere. So everything that I believe in it because I want to believe in it. So as an example, I feel like the traditional retirement age is 67, 70, whatever the case is. That's just the traditional retirement age. That is not the age that is required for me to work and to retire. Mm-hmm. That's not going to work for me at any rate. Like, retiring at 67 would never work for me whatsoever. Yeah, that's kind of why I want to retire early, because I want to, and because there's nothing that says that I need to work from 20 to 67 years of age. That's wild to me. I also have different views on work. A lot of people have a lot of feelings about work and all that, and I don't either. I believe that I go to work, I stimulate the economy, then I stimulate my bank account whenever they pay me, and then that's all that work is. Work, I feel like we all have to work unless we're filthy rich. But we don't have to work for 20 years or 30 years or 40 years if we don't want to. I would never knock anybody who's working, or belittle or condemn anyone who's working to 67 or 70 or 80 or whatever. I don't know how long people work. But all I know is that that's not my path in life.
Yeah, I really love what you were saying about the not necessarily looking at what other people are doing and feeling that you're missing out on anything. I think that is kind of the biggest issue why I think a lot of people get themselves into some financial situations that are not the best, is because we're chasing what we see on Instagram. Well, this person went to Bora Bora, this person bought a new, G-Wagon, and it's like, oh, well, I want that too, and not necessarily even knowing what happened behind the scenes for them to get there. And why we really appreciate what you're doing is because it's giving people the information now, wherever stage you're at, where you can make that conscious decision, where you can say, all right, well, this is what I'm hearing from them, hearing from this body, and take it all together and maybe seek help, a financial advisor, a financial planner, to maybe get you on that path.
For sure.
So another question that I had was...
last question.
Yeah, last question.
No problem. Girl, I could talk all day. Don't get me started. Okay, I'm listening.
Was what are your tips for checking up on your finances as the new year approaches?
No one really asked me this, but I feel like it comes up because I really feel like it's important that we not put ourselves in bad situations when it comes to the holidays. I really feel like if we're taking into the new year credit card debt from the holidays or from the previous year, or, those types of things, that's just going to kind of have us stuck, if you will, or really kind of behind. Now, I really feel like this time of the year can get a little consumerism-ish and can get a little spendy. And I really feel like statistics tell us that a lot of people do go into the new year with a lot still paying off Christmas gifts, be it credit card or whatever the case is. And I really just would love for us to get to a place as a society where we are spending on for the holidays and enjoying it, but we're not doing too much. I would consider too much to be spending money that we don't have. I really do recommend creating an annual budget. The reason why I think that's important is because it's almost, I think creating any budget, any worksheet, anything of any sort is really just not a slap in the face, because that's not the right terminology, but it really tells you what's capable. But that's one of the tips that I have.
Awesome. Well, it's been so much fun chatting with you. I'm like, where has the time already gone? We've been talking for
I
like...
know! I talk too much.
This is your show. This is your moment today. I probably love having guests on so we get to hear other people chat, not just us. So, it's been really fun having you on. Before we close out, let everybody know where they can find you and keep up with you.
Alrighty. I am on Instagram every day at Shay Budgets. I am on YouTube at Shay Budgets. There is a space though, Shay space Budgets. And then everywhere else at Shay Budgets. My website is shaybudgets.com, Facebook, Shay Budgets. I think those are kind of the only real places that you can find me. But wherever I'm to be found, it is at Shay Budgets.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again for being here with us and sharing your insights and your wisdom. And hopefully everybody walk away some tidbits going into the new year. So thanks again. And
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell so you never miss when we post new content. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.